Welcome, Connor. Thanks for being a part of this series. I'm really excited to hear more about local laundry.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
So how did you go from working in oil and gas and studying in Sweden to starting a clothing company?
Yeah, great question. So it kind of all started, it's a long story, so buckle up. So my parents are like many Canadians, they're newcomers to this country, right? So growing up, it was always you want to be successful. You want to do your family, you want to do your country proud, you want to be successful. So it was always kind of drilled into my head, from high school to university, you want to be successful, you got to make lots of money. You want to make lots of money in this town, you got to go into oil and gas. So all throughout high school, through university, that's the thought I would do. Success, money, oil and gas. Simple formula, right? So that's what I did. So about right after university, I got a business degree, like everyone else, went into the oil and gas world, and it was just not exactly how it had been sold to me. I didn't enjoy it at all. I thought I'd be, playing golf Monday through Thursday, drinking on Friday, and rolling in the dough Saturday, Sunday. But it wasn't quite the case. And not to say that it wasn't not a good place to work, but just wasn't a good fit for me. I don't think I was a good fit for it. Mm-hmm. So in 2014, like many other Calgarians, I got laid off, right? And here I was, a couple years out of university, kind of just my whole life plan had kind of just been thrown under the bus. Mm-hmm. So what was I to do? I'd always kind of wanted to study abroad. I was always kind of drawn to Sweden, always wanted to get an MBA. And because I have dual citizenship with Ireland, I was able to study in Sweden for free.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of just took it as an opportunity, kind of got punched in the teeth, getting laid off, my whole world's kind of spinning around. I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm getting out of here for a little while. I'm going to go figure some stuff out. So me and my wife, we decided to move to northern Sweden, middle of nowhere, lived in a house, maybe a quarter size of this room. You can turn off the kitchen sink from your bedroom. Uh-huh. And so we were living in Sweden, and I kind of just took a look at myself and said, what is it that I want to do? What is it that would really make me happy? Obviously, tried the oil and gas, success, money route. Didn't really work out for me, right? Yeah. So I kind of looked at my parents, again, like I said, newcomers to Canada, and they were successful entrepreneurs. Mm. They kind of built a business, built a life for themselves where they worked hard, they kind of reaped the benefits, and they were really happy with what they did. So
what was their business?
Well, like any good Irish people, they own an Irish pub.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they've owned one of they own the very first Irish pub here in Calgary, and one of the longest owning and only Irish owned and operated pub, James Joyce Irish Pub.
I love that place.
Yeah.
Awesome. On 8th
Avenue. Yeah. So
oh, cool.
Yeah, they were able to build a business, and I was kind of able to learn from them that they had never really ran a restaurant before. Neither of them are cooks, or chefs. Mm-hmm. But they were able to kind of figure things out and grow. And they were able to kind of, one thing that always really stuck with me is they were able to build this community around them. And they were able to use the pub as a way to give back. They always gave back, whether it was to other newcomers, giving them jobs, or, working with different charitable organizations, providing food and that kind of thing. And that always kind of stuck in my mind. So I was like, I really wanted to be own my own business that I can work hard, create my own happiness, and then use it as a way to kind of give back and build community, right? Mm-hmm. So I was trying a bunch of different things. I had my own podcast. I tried to write a book. I tried to start an app like every other idiot in 2010, and then none of these things kind of seemed to work. So then it wasn't until I was, thinking. Everyone kept asking me, "Where are you from?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm from Canada." And they said, "That's fantastic. Where in Canada are you from?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm from Calgary." And they go, "That's great. Never heard of it." I was like, oh man, no one's ever heard of Calgary. So I looked up some like cool Calgary stuff to represent where I came from. And it was all like cartoon moose and RCMP uniform and those cheesy like Banff National Park landscape shirts that are like $3 for $10 at the airport. And I was like, this sucks. I would love something that represented Calgary and represented me. And so I had no idea about clothes or fashion or websites or you name it. Didn't know the first thing, but I just did what any idiot millennial does. And I Google searched how to make a t-shirt company. And then I watched a YouTube video, and within, 24 hours and $50 later, I had an online t-shirt company. Selling online t-shirts. Still living in Sweden, studying, and kind of just grew and grew and grew. And because we had no money, right? I didn't want to, get investment. I didn't want to ask mom and dad for a loan or anything. We kind of had to figure out ways to become inventive and get our message out there and market ourselves. And so we really, right from the very get-go, we came about building community, right? We came about sharing stories from the community, working with others that were passionate, that wanted to have a positive impact, right? Donating 10% of our profits back to local charities. And we've kind of just been figuring it out ever since. I moved back from Sweden, met my business partner, Dustin. He came on board, really helped turn things into, big boy company. And we've been going, and we've been celebrating our 4-year anniversary. I've been full-time with it for 2 years. We're in 25 stores across Canada. Just signed a deal with Mark's Work Warehouse. We're getting in 10 of their stores across Canada.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool. We're getting in the Calgary and Edmonton airport. We're going to change and flip the script from those stores that just have the cheesy, like I said, I Heart Calgary shirts. And we're going to put some real cool, Calgary YYC stuff in Canadian made, and that's the other big thing. We are now 100% Canadian made. Last year we made the switch to only using Canadian manufacturing to support a diverse Canadian economy. And
was that a challenging switch because of change in profit margins, or is the profit margins similar?
No, they're way slimmer.
Yeah,
right. I mean, when you're producing here in Canada, it's 10 times more expensive. And it's 10 times more expensive because you got to pay Canadian labor wages, and you got to use production manufacturers that adhere to Canadian labor standards and Canadian environmental standards. But that's okay. That's what businesses should be doing. When you make a sweater or make a t-shirt, the material that it's made from is going to be virtually the same no matter where you make it. The expensive part in making anything is always going to be the labor, how much you pay the employee, right? And in different places overseas and that kind of thing, pennies on the dollar. And we didn't know where the stuff was getting made, how it was getting made, who was making it. It just showed up in a box, right? And we didn't know any better. We were just some idiots who Google searched how to make a t-shirt company. And it was last year that we kind of realized, like, maybe that's not the best way. If we're all about building community and having a positive impact on community, we should know where our clothes are being made. We should know who's making them. So we made the switch to Canadian manufacturing, and it was quite scary because all of a sudden our sweaters went from $60 to $80. We thought people are going to just abandon us. Like no one's going to want to buy our sweaters. It's going to be panic. But we thought, this is the right thing to do. We have to do it. And we did it. And lo and behold, people got it. People understood. They believed in it. They wanted to support it, right? They've been craving some Canadian-made clothing. And
it seems like it's been a big hit. Like you see it all over the city.
Yeah. And again, like zero marketing dollars, right? We don't spend anything on advertising. We tried Facebook ads. I still have no idea how they work. I can't understand the Facebook ad machine. So we really feel that if you go about building a community in a unique and engaging way, that you can still get your message out there, right? And everything we do goes back to building community. And we have 5 pillars of community, right? And I've kind of mentioned them, a few of them before. We have the first one is representing where you come from, right? Whether it's your city or your country, right? We have our YYC in Canada line. The second is sharing stories from the community, right? Which is what you do, right? Which is what you're excellent at. Finding people that are doing cool things in the community, having a positive impact and sharing that story, whether they're businesses, artists, nonprofits, you name it. The third is by collaborating with those people and working together to create a positive impact, whether that's through guest blogs, content creation such as this, or even making garments or other kind of charitable drives, that kind of thing. Which leads to our fourth is donating 10% of all of our profits right back to charities that our customers help choose. Right. So far, we've been able to donate over $25,000 to local charities across Canada. And our fifth and final pillar of community is, of course, supporting Canadian manufacturing and only producing Canadian-made clothes to support a diverse Canadian economy.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So what was the initial inspiration behind your designs and your style, kind of beyond that you wanted something that kind of represented Calgary?
Yeah, that was a good question. I really wanted something because I was designing it for me, I was designing it for me, a big and ugly ginger person who's not the most fashionable, right? Didn't always wear the coolest clothes. And I wanted something that I could, feel that represented Calgary for me, right? And I kind of liked the YYC. It was kind of like, I went to school in Sweden about 2014, YYC started emerging around 2013 during the Calgary floods, and people started using it on social media and hashtag. And it seemed like you had to be from Calgary to really know what YYC was. And I kind of like that, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of like that it just didn't like shout Calgary right in your face and shove it down your throat. It kind of had like a subtle, you had to be from Calgary to understand it, right? So anyone else is just like, oh, what's YYC? But someone from Calgary, you're like, oh, nice, Calgary. So we wanted all our designs not to feel like you were a walking billboard, but all of our designs, they had to and still have to follow 3 simple rules. They got to be clean, crisp, and simple. You got to be able to say something without saying anything at all. So YYC with some mountains can mean 10 different things to 10 different people, which I really like. So it's kind of up to your own interpretation.
Yeah. What was your first big struggle with the business? The first kind of really big hurdle to overcome?
Yeah, it was just kind of name recognition, getting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I mean, when you Google search how to make a t-shirt company, and then you just start and you have a t-shirt company, and you try and shout it out to the world, hey, check out my t-shirt company, right? It's really hard to kind of get out there when you're competing against well-established brands, all the other idiots who started t-shirt companies, and you have no money to get the name out there, right? So that was kind of the first initial, like, what do we do? So we obviously took to social media, and we hit every social media channel we could get: Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. And we just tried anything and everything. I thought Twitter was going to be our go-to. I invested so much time and energy in Twitter because I thought that was like what was going to launch us to the stratosphere. And then like Instagram started like getting more and more. We're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe we should check out this. And that's where that really strategy of community building and sharing stories and working with others to help us create content, help them create content, and let's share each other's stories. So if you kind of go through our Instagram now and you go through our feed, you're not going to find pictures of us saying, look how great we are. Look at all these beautiful people we're getting in their clothes. Look how amazing our clothes look. It's like, no, look how amazing this person is. This is what this person is doing in the community. This is how they're creating a positive impact. They're a musician. They're an artist. They're a local business. They're a charity, right? So it's telling everyone's story. By telling everyone else's story, we're telling our story, right? So that was kind of the first big problem, and that was kind of a way that we found to overcome that problem that kind of stuck true to our personal values.
That's awesome. Did you was there a point in the beginning when you kind of came to the realization that was a viable business, where you kind of at first did you have doubts?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, my first customer was my best friend, and then my second customer was my dad, and then there was that third customer, and I had no idea who he was. And I know I had no idea who he was because I looked him up. I looked up like him, his LinkedIn, his Facebook, his Instagram. I checked his address to make sure like I definitely didn't know him, and I didn't. And here was this stranger who bought something, who believed in the same thing that I did, and put money down on the line and bought something. And I think right at that point I was like, okay, this could be something. And I think that's true kind of for any businesses. If you can find your first customer, right? Someone who's no attachment to you whatsoever and has no pity on you, so they're not giving you charity sales,
Yeah.
If you can find one person, I think that's when maybe I have a viable business, and that's enough fuel to kind of to get you going and keep you going for that next customer.
Was the first year fairly slow for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was dead slow. I mean, it started as a side project, right?
Right.
I was selling a t-shirt a month, and then but I was just so passionate about it, and that like when that customer buys that sweater or that t-shirt, it created something in me, it was like this rush of and surge of energy and endorphins to the brain. And it just, every time I got a sale, it made me, I wasn't excited about the money because I wasn't making any money, right? All the money was going right back into the business. It was like, okay, there's someone out there that maybe is as passionate about this stuff as I am, passionate about like Calgary, YYC, giving back, building community. Maybe I'm not the only maniacal idiot out there. There's other people,
Yeah.
And so that kind of just drove me. And so it started going, t-shirt a month, 2 t-shirts a month, t-shirt a week. And I was like, if I could get to like 10 t-shirts, like this is like, I'm the world's smartest man. And then we got to 10 t-shirts and I was like, this is crazy. Like, can you imagine if we sold 100 t-shirts? Like, oh, and it just like all these ideas started coming out and it just kind of like, it was like a self-fueling kind of vehicle. And before you know it, I was going full time with it. And then stores started approaching us, international stores. And now like Mark's is wanting to work with us. And we're like sometimes we take a step back. I'm like, are these people crazy? Do they know that we don't know what we're doing, that we're all just making it up as we go, and we're just two idiots that Googled how to make a t-shirt company, you know? So it's, it's been a wild ride. But our favorite part at the end of the day is that local laundry has become a vehicle to meet other people, other passionate people that want to have a positive impact, whether it's like yourself, like a storyteller, or like I said, a musician, or, you know, a local business and that kind of thing. And it's been a vehicle to connect and build community, which I think is so cool. So we like to say, you know, we don't sell clothes. Clothing is just the byproduct. We're building community, right?
So at what point did you realize that you would be able to take that leap of faith and quit your job and go full time?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I kind of say it to anyone and everyone. If it's just you, like if it was Dustin and I that started this as 18, we would have dove in feet first, lived in our parents' basement and eaten ramen until the cows come home. But, you know, the reality was we both had families. You know, Dustin was married, or he is married, and he's got a little baby and a mortgage, and I got married and that kind of thing. So it's like, you can't just think of yourself; you got to think of others. You have to get the business to a point where you can sustain yourself, right? Where it can pay you a salary, where it's a real business. And to get to that point, you got to work a full-time job, and then you come home for your full-time job and work full-time on your business. Yeah, evenings, weekends, right? Yeah, early mornings, anytime you could. So we cut out everything that wasn't local laundry, family, or health, right? I gave up drinking, going out with friends, playing sports, anything that wasn't local laundry, family, or health. Gave it up, right? Because that's what it took to get the business to the point where it could sustain me, right? And so now I'm the only full-time employee. Now we're trying to get to the next point where we can bring another full-time employee, and then another, and then another, you know?
So do you have a little bit better work-life balance now, or are you still just focusing on the...
Yeah, no, it's still that, you know, because those are the only three things that I care about. You know, it's local laundry has now become something that just drives me, and I've become absolutely obsessed with. And I think you have to become absolutely obsessed with your business. I mean, you can't have a successful business if, you know, you love your business, but you also, you know, love the band that you're in, and you want to tour around with your band all the time. I mean, you only have so much time and energy to devote, right? And something's got to give. And if it's not the band or your business, it's going to be your family or your health. Yeah. Right. And those your family and your health are just two non-negotiables, right? As they should be non-negotiables, right? Your immediate family and your extended family. So for me, it's just like, I have cut out everything in my life that's not adding to one of those three things.
Yeah. I've talked to several entrepreneurs that have kind of said, whether it's like for a quarter or for a year, you can only focus on three things. So like friends, business, health, stuff like that, right? Yeah. But pick three and only focus on those things for that period.
Yeah, it was Randy Zuckerberg that said it, Mark Zuckerberg's sister.
Oh, yeah.
She says, you got sleep, fitness, career, family, or friends.
Oh, yeah, she had the five.
Three. Yeah, you got five. There's five of them. You can only pick three. Yeah. And it's true. There's got to be that balance. Yeah. You know, and you can't have four and you can't have five. So now it's like the thing that I learned when I went full time is that there's no work time, weekend time, downtime, play time, you know, catch up time. There's only time. There's only 24 hours in a day. And you can choose to spend that 24 hours however you wish. I mean, sometimes my wife, she's a nurse, so sometimes she's off on a Tuesday. So that's when we go to Costco because no one else is there. And it's glorious to roll in the aisles of Costco and no one else is there. Yeah. Or maybe, you know, she wants to go see, you know, a movie at 12. Let's go see a movie at 12. But other days, you know, it's like this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the weekend. We had a market. I was there from 9 to 6 every day, right? I love being there. I love doing it. I can't go on vacation and just leave the business for a week like, you know, other people at jobs. No. Because no one else is going to do it. Yeah. Right? So I'm on vacation and my wife is very, very accepting. She knows we have our vacation time, but in the evenings or early mornings, I got to go and I got to get stuff done.
Yeah. Right? I was traveling last summer and one of the old ladies there was giving me a hard time for always being on my phone or my computer. And I was like, I'm able to travel at a young age and go to these places because I can do my work while I'm here.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It makes a big difference.
So it's that trade-off, you know? Yeah. I would way rather that. I would work every weekend and every holiday if it meant that I could spend more time with my family, if it meant that I was doing what I loved and I wasn't tied to a desk and being somewhere that I didn't want to be, you know, 5 days a week from 9 to 5.
For sure. Did you find a lot of growth after you went full-time?
Yeah, absolutely, because before there was opportunities that were coming our way and we just couldn't say yes to them. We couldn't take them on because we didn't have the capacity. We were only working on the bare essentials. As soon as I went full time, that's when the opportunities really opened up. I could go to Vancouver for a fashion show that we got invited to. I could meet with retailers during the day. I could do this and that and the other. Before I'd have to go sneak out for a quick call. Something's wrong at our manufacturers. Oh, what's wrong? I got 2 minutes. Now I can spend the time and I can really dig deep into some of the issues and opportunities that we have, and so yeah, it's been fantastic.
What was your job while you were starting the company?
So I was a student at the time when I started it. I had loads of time and it was great. So I was like trying everything. And I moved back to Calgary and I worked for another kind of startup tech company called Benevity.
Oh, okay, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and I mean they were great because they kind of shared the same values as me, right? They wanted to give back. They're a phenomenal tool that helps companies donate to local charities and they have matching gift programs. So I was able to take what I'd learned from them. They were a startup that were kind of established when I joined, and learn how they got from one stage to another and learn the organizational and social values and kind of integrate it into my business. So they were really great. I can't say that I was the best employee, but I was certainly the happiest.
Awesome. And then in the last year or so, have you had any notable struggles or things you've had to overcome that you struggled with?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the downside of entrepreneurship. Everyone kind of sees hashtag entrepreneur on social and that kind of thing, and hustle hard and all that kind of thing. And everyone kind of just assumes it's rosy. Everyone just sees the good things, Yeah, we post cool pictures of us getting in marks or winning awards, but no one's posting pictures of like hashtag cash flow problems.
Yeah.
Cash flow extended credit, credit card bills. Like no one's doing that. No one gets to see that. So a big part for us is we want to grow this company the right way. We want to grow long and slow. And without outside investment or long-term debt, right? We want to do this thing right. We want to be the thought leader that you can be a small business, but still have a positive and big impact on the social side of things, on the community. But just because you want to be social and give back doesn't mean you can't be profitable, right? So we want to build it right to really lock down those three key components, right? Be a small business, give back to the community, and still be profitable. So I mean, our biggest struggle is it's always going to be cash flow.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that a lot of businesses don't understand.
Well, retail is so tough because you have to hold inventory.
Yes.
And that leads to tax problems too, right? Like inventory can be difficult for income tax and stuff.
Well, yeah, not only that, I mean, it's these agreements, right? The sales cycle. I mean, you buy the stuff from manufacturers, you got to pay them right away.
Yeah.
And then the stores want the gear. So they give them the stores, but they want to pay you in net 30. So sometimes it's like 60 days from when you paid your manufacturer to when you actually get money in to pay for it. So it's like, it's a constant.
Or even longer if you're holding the inventory, right?
Exactly. Luckily for me, my business partner is 10 times smarter than me. And he works, he still works full time at ATB as an entrepreneur strategist. So,
cool.
So he is very adept at cash flow and cash flow analysis and making sure we have the right, banking tools in place so that during, January, February, you're not making any sales, right? That you can kind of keep going and sustain yourself.
That's huge. I'm sure that over time you've been able to better predict those like peaks and valleys, right? And
yeah, you'd think so.
Account for it.
But still, stuff always comes up. It no matter what. Every December, we're the smartest people in the world. We're gonna sell so many sweaters, and then January we're just pulling our hair. Like even though we know what's happening, we're like, what's going on? Why is no one buying any sweaters? So you're able to adjust the trends, and we're still learning. We're still only 4 years in, so we're still learning the seasonal trends and when to release products and when not to, when to stock up and when to expect the lead time. So it's still fine tuning, but learning the whole retail side of things has been absolutely fascinating, a ton of fun.
Oh yeah,
but it's a lot of learning.
So what are your goals, both personally and for the business, over the next 10 years?
Oh, great question. So for the business, over the next 10 years, we want to become Canada's best company at building community. When people hear the name Local Laundry from, Vancouver to PEI, we want people to be like, oh, they build community. Like they make good Canadian clothes, but they're also doing good. And then part of that 10-year goal is we want to be able to donate $1 million to local charities across Canada within the next 10 years. So we're at $25,000 now. We want to make it to $1 million. So
Very cool.
what that looks like is me full-time, Dustin full-time, maybe about 3 to 5 other full-time members. And we're supporting all these great Canadian manufacturers. We're helping grow other businesses and supporting other artists. And we're just building community through Canadian-made clothes. That's the real vision,
Amazing. Now, you mentioned that you could walk people through how to start a t-shirt company.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah. So I figured it out. I mean, I was the biggest dum-dum out there, and I still am. And if I was able to kind of piece it together through Google and YouTube and some other helpful things, anyone can. It's really not that hard. Starting the t-shirt company is not that hard, but sustaining it and making it viable, that's the hard part. So just anyone who wants to start a t-shirt company is very easy. So the first thing that you do, Google search it, find a YouTube video, you're going to go to Shopify, right? Shopify, great Canadian company.
Yeah.
Fantastic tech, like Canada's tech darling. They do so much for e-commerce and e-commerce store owners.
So easy to work with.
So ridiculously, they dumb everything down. It makes it so great for goons like me, because I don't know anything about how to build a website. Don't ask me about payment card processing. I mean, I don't want all the data, and I don't want to be in charge of all that. You want to talk about apps and shipping. Like, they've thought of everything, and they've dumbed it down so that anyone can understand. So if you know how to use a mouse and drag and drop, you can build a website through Shopify. So that's the first thing. You got to get Shopify, right? And the other thing you want to utilize drop shipping, right? And drop shipping has kind of had it's been kind of a buzzword lately, but I'm not saying drop shipping stuff from China. You don't want to drop ship. Find a good quality drop shipper. The best ones we found is called the Printful, right? What they do is they have a bunch of clothes down in LA that are made in the US, and someone orders something on your website, and they'll pull it from their inventory, and they'll make it, they'll ship it, they'll fulfill it, and they'll charge you only once someone on your end has bought it.
So are you shipping from Canada to the US and back into Canada then?
You're shipping right from LA to Canada.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there's another great company that just started out of Vancouver called T-Hatch.
Okay.
Canadian. I don't have any experience with them, but they exist now, and the concept's there. But the Printful has been doing it for like forever, and they're the biggest and best.
How much does that impact profit margins?
So because they're doing it one-offs and custom orders, essentially.
Yeah.
The profit margins, are going to be a little bit slimmer. But listen, that's okay. And I'll tell you why that's okay. Because most people who start a t-shirt company, they think, I have this great idea for the design. I'm going to go out and buy 200 shirts so I get good economies of scale, a good, healthy profit margin. Now, 200 shirts is my design. Now, you might think you have a good design. I might think you have a good design. Your mom might tell you you have a good design. You're not going to know if you have a good design or concept or brand until the market tells you have a good design.
Right.
Right? You can have the greatest, and all your friends, saying how great you are, but unless people that are strangers to you are putting their money where your mouth is, right? You got nothing. So what drop shipping does, and why we love the Printful, why we tell everyone to use it, is that it allows you to test market ideas. Right? So I'll give you an example. When we first started, I thought Calgary communities were going to be the big thing. We used to do Calgary communities. So we had an Inglewood shirt, Kensington shirt, 17th Avenue. I was like, Calgary community tees are going to, take over the world. And we had all these designs. And I threw up the YYC one just as we'll put it up there. And I was like, why is no one buying Inglewood shirts? Why is no one buying like Forest Lawn shirts? Sorry. And I was like, this is bewildering. And I was like, why are people buying this YYC design? Like, it was an afterthought. Like, it was just kind of there,
Yeah.
But people were buying the YYC shirts, right? And not only were they buying T-shirts, I'm a big fan of the crew neck sweater. I could do a whole episode on why the crew neck sweater is the greatest piece of garment clothing ever invented. But I wanted one, and I was a cheap, poor student, so I didn't want to pay for one. So I put it up on our website and offered all the designs on crew neck sweater. And all of a sudden, the T-shirts weren't selling as well. The crew neck sweater was selling more, right? In this color, a maroon color. And I looked at who was buying. I thought, we'll make unisex clothes. We'll sell men, women, children, dogs, whoever wants them. But I looked at our customers who were buying. 75% of them were women, which shocked me, because you ask my wife, I don't know the first thing about women, right? And I know even less about women's clothing. So it was just shocking to me. So after 6 months, we had all this data on what sells and what people want. They want YYC, on a sweater, and it's mostly women who are going to be buying them. Had I not utilized drop shipping, I would still have like hundreds of Forest Lawn and Bridgeland shirts that I couldn't give away. So when you utilize drop shipping, it's a great way to start a business. I don't think it's a great way to sustain a business, because once stores and retail partners approach you, the whole system collapses. And we kind of went through that. But I'm talking about the first 6 months. You want to test out an idea. You want to test it out for cheap, right? Unless you got like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to invest and play around, and monkey around with market research, great, go ahead. But that's a whole different world.
Yeah.
You know, most people only have $100 to spend, and that's all you should spend, right? So you get the Shopify, you get Printful, and after 6 months, you're going to have a whole breadth of data. You're going to know if your idea works. You're going to know if people buy them. You're going to know what they buy, who buys them, where they buy them, and what they buy, which is you can't pay for that type of market research. You can pay thousands of dollars for that market research, but no one's going to tell you market research like the market itself, right? So you got Shopify, you got the Printful or T-Hatch or whatever, and all you need is a credit card, right? You put those three tools together, and okay, you come at me, you say, Connor, I'm not a designer. Guess what? I'm no designer either. So there's lots of great tools, and another great free tool out there is called Canva, right? I'm sure you've heard of it. Create social posts, create designs. Again, if you know how to use drag and drop, you know how to use a mouse, you can learn how to use Canva. Get that out there to use your initial designs. Yes, later down the road, you want to pay a real designer, someone who knows what they're doing, how to make a good design. But when you're just starting out, you don't want to spend more than $100. Use Canva for yourself. And a lot of people think, and the thing that kills me when people want to start a business, especially a clothing company, they think it has to be perfect. It has to be so perfect before I can't launch. I'm 6 months out because it's not perfect yet. Well, it's like Reid Hoffman said, if you wait till it's perfect, you waited too late. Put out the ugliest version, the crappiest version of your product as fast as you can, and get that market research feedback. Because what you think, when you have this vision of the perfect product, doesn't mean that's what the market thinks. Doesn't mean that's what people want. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Or maybe there's certain elements that there is. So get it out there. So create, your little logo on Canva and get it out there, right? See what they want. Get feedback, Personally call up every customer who bought something. What did you like? What did you not like? Who are you? You want to be friends. Get that feedback and that market data research. So we always like to say, get Shopify, get Printful, get a credit card, get on Canva, and get something out there.
Yeah.
All that, you have all those tools, should not take you more than 30 minutes to get a website from nothing zilch to live and out there. 30 minutes. If it's your first time, I'll give you an hour. Right? But some people, if you want to start on Friday, you could be selling by Sunday.
Well, it really surprises me, and I had a client a little while back that came up with an idea and did absolutely no market research. I don't even think they asked their friends if they liked this product or would buy it, and ended up spending tens of thousands of dollars on product development, like molds and all that stuff, and getting it manufactured overseas, and then didn't sell any of it. And it's just crushing.
And that just kills
so
me.
Depressing, yeah.
Right? Because these entrepreneurs, we're such a passionate, and we're all maniacal idiots. You can go down such a rabbit hole and get such tunnel vision and someone says, "What are you doing? Are you sure you want to do that?" You're like, "No, this is my idea. This is the best idea in the world. I'm making the perfect mason jar glass." And you can spend tens of thousands of dollars. Does the world need the perfect mason jar glass? Do people need a T-shirt that cures cancer? Eventually, that's the direction we want to get to. Great, let's get there eventually, but we don't need to get there now. I tell everyone, stop talking about your business, get it out there for $100 or less. If someone buys your product and it's the worst, ugliest, brutal version of it, and someone still buys it, imagine how many more people are going to buy it once it's at that perfect stage, right? Yeah. You just need people to believe in the idea of what you stand for. Our shirts were ugly as sin when we first started. Canva wasn't even available. We used a website called Hipster Logo Generator. I kid you not. We got called out. We were harassed online. They were dogs garbage, our first initial designs. But they were out there, and we got that feedback, what people liked, what people didn't like. And then even a few people bought them, and I love those people, because maybe they didn't like the design so much, but they liked what they stood for. Building community, bringing people together, donating back to local charities. They like that. And now our shirts are Canadian made. They're designed by real professional designers. You know, they have little details like hem tags and woven labels. And, you know, now we can have proper photography. We get to meet cool people like you. You know, now it's actually something that's got some legs to stand on their own because we've been able to define and build and go along as we grew. But how do we come out, you know, 4 years ago with hundreds of Renfrew shirts, you know, and thinking that's what the people wanted. And then when people didn't want them, we get angry at them and say, why don't you want these Renfrew shirts?
Yeah.
They're bright purple, just like I thought they were, you know? And it's like, that's not what people want, you know? So get out there, stop talking about your business, get out there and actually do it, but do it less for $100, right? Don't quit your day job. Do it in the evenings, weekends, strip everything out that isn't that passion. Surround yourself with other people that are going to support that passion and share your story, you know, and go from there. And look, if, you know, the majority of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Yeah. Right? 50% of them fail within the first 5 years. And if it fails, it fails. If it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's fine. Yeah. You've learned so much along the way. You were following your passion. And I think that's a big problem these days is people don't follow their passion. We have 30, 35-year-olds who are sitting in their day jobs and they're absolutely depressed, right? Because they hate what they're doing. They're not fulfilled in their life. They're not passionate, and they don't surround themselves with community. People are absolutely starving for community these days. We hide behind a wall of our phones and our Netflix, and we don't put ourselves with people anymore. 50 years ago, everyone was going to church or temple, or you lived closer together, you interacted with one another. There was a great sense of community. We don't have that anymore, right? You have to work to have that sense of community. That's why spin studios are so popular right now, right? People are just starving for that connection, that real human connection, you know? So get out there, find your passion. I don't care if it's rock climbing or rock gardening, you know? Go find and pursue that passion and find other people that are going to support you and build you up for that passion, you know?
Yeah, that's very valuable advice. And I think a lot of people really overthink their ideas and don't just take action, or they're too scared to mess it up, or too scared to fail.
And I get it, because it's your baby, right? Yeah. It's your baby, and you create this beautiful baby, and you put it out there, and someone spits on your baby and says, that's the ugliest baby I've ever seen, right? And of course you're going to be like, hey, that's my baby, you know? Of course, I get that. It's human nature, right? But you have to put yourself out on the line. No one is a bigger defender of mine than my wife. My wife like hunts down every person on the internet who's ever said anything bad about local learning. It's like, I'll get you. I'm like, honey, sweetie, like it's okay, right? In that feedback, those angry comments, there's some really good stuff and nuggets that we can take out and improve, right? So you got to have thick skin. You have to put yourself out there. Yeah. You know, you got to be vulnerable, but there's strength in vulnerability. Yeah. Right.
Nothing risked, nothing gained.
Exactly. Right. And so I get it. It's a scary thing. You know, when I first started, I told all my friends, I was like, hey guys, I got this great idea. I'm going to start a clothing company, Calgary Community Tees. And they're like, Connor, your pants are like tucked into your socks right now. Like, what do you know about fashion? You're the least fashionable guy I know. And I was like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll Google it. And, you know, and they all laughed me off. And now they're calling me up for, you know, hey, can I get a t-shirt? Can I get a sweater? You know, love what you're doing. You know, so you got to put yourself out there and, you know, be vulnerable and hear what the marketers are saying and find those people that are going to support you and just, you know, shut up and start doing it. You know, create that positive impact on the community, because if you don't, like, who else will?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, that's great advice. It's really powerful. I hope it inspires some people to kind of maybe take a leap into the deep end.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be scary though. That's the thing. I mean, it's $100. That's what you spend on a hobby or a couple of nights out at the bar. Yeah. Give yourself $100 limit, right? Yeah. And it's, you know, after that initial $100, like, you know, have a look back and is this something that's got some legs or worth it? You know? Yeah. I mean, like, believe me, I was the idiot that spent $2,000-$3,000 trying to build an app in 2010, like every other idiot who had a great idea for an app. But I'm not a coder, right? I don't know Java or MySQL or whatever, Ruby, Rails or whatever. I had to pay someone to do that. And all that money, you know, you got to find something that you can actually build, that you can, you know, you don't have to send molds to China. Yeah. You know, you don't have to, that you can actually create and control. Right. And then once you've done it and you're in the thick of things, then you can, you know, source it out and get out there. So yes, it's scary, but it doesn't have to be. Just take things small. Because that's the other thing. I mean, I'm going off a lot of tangents here. But I mean, we live in a generation of now. We want everything now.
Yeah.
You know, you want McDonald's, let's skip the dishes now. You want to go to the Calgary Tower, Uber now. You want to watch, Batman, Netflix now.
Yeah.
Right? We live in this world of now. So when we say like we're depressed because we want to be successful, we want to have this great business, but we want it now.
Yeah.
And
People
you can't
have
have it now.
be able to delay gratification.
Delay gratification. It's going to take years. So when I tell people like, yeah, go ahead and start your business, they're like, great. How long did it take for you to go full time? I was like, it took me 2 years working every evening, every weekend. They're like, oh, no thanks.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go find something else. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's going to take time, right? That's why we want to grow. We're never going to, Dustin said it so great the other day at an event, we're never going to win the high growth award. We're never going to be, 2,000 plus revenue, increase in a year. We're going to grow long and slow. And if it takes 10 years, it takes 10 years. If it takes 20 years, it's going to take 20 years because we're doing it right and we're having fun while we're doing it. It's not going to happen overnight. So you got to enjoy the process and enjoy the journey.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts and your time and your insight into the retail clothing industry. And I'm really excited to see what you guys do in the next few years here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And hopefully it wasn't all ramblings of a madman. No. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Our first sponsor is Symbol Syndication, which is a video production company that I started. We do video production and online marketing for businesses of all sizes, ranging from solopreneurs to Fortune 500 companies. Our second sponsor is Gravity Cafe. They've been gracious enough to give us their space. The coffee's awesome. They have live music 3 nights a week. The beer's great. It's an awesome place to come hang out. Our next sponsor is Flagship Business Brokers. Flagship Business Brokers provides entrepreneurs with support through the purchase, sale, or financing of a business. They have a proven track record of delivering fast, cost-efficient, and client-focused transactions. Another sponsor of the Ambition Project is BusinessLink. BusinessLink is Alberta's entrepreneurial hub. They are a nonprofit organization that helps people navigate the steps towards starting their own businesses. Just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you're in business by yourself. BusinessLink's team of in-house startup experts are there to support you all along the way. Our next sponsor is the Better Business Bureau. Your BBB helps businesses build visibility, credibility, savings, leads, and community through BBB accreditation while funding free marketplace services with more than 1 million instances of service to consumers every year. Visit bbb.org/Calgary to learn more today.